Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are going to look at the next topic, that is the opening for black against the King's Gambit. So King's Gambit is one of the openings which is played at various levels. At very top level it is played occasionally as a surprise weapon. So let's understand what are the basic concepts. Today's lesson will be introductory lesson to the King's Gambit, and I will try to show you one variation which we can play if we are facing the King's Gambit. So the line which I am choosing is relatively simple. We don't have to memorize complex lines, and we are not going to give that kind of play what white wants generally from the King's Gambit. See, generally white wants is black takes EF, and after NF3 black should try to hold the pawn by G5. That is what usually white wants, okay, and then he will get the center and his pieces charge on the black king side, okay. So what we will do is we will play according to the basics of the game, and we will try to exploit the fact that because white has played F4, this diagonal A7 to G1 has become weak, and that can make white's plan of castling short. See, white intends to go NF3, BC4, castle, D3, and see, it will resemble a position like Geico piano if the pawn is on F2, but he has played F4, and what he wants, he has got the space here, so either putting pressure in the center by Fe or playing F5 to gain space in the center. So these ideas are there for white. So what we will do is we will make white's castling difficult here. After the move F4, black goes for the move bishop C5. Immediately taking control of the weak diagonal and setting a small trap. Now F into E5 instantly loses to queen check, king E2, then queen E4 checkmates. So G3 forced, then queen E4 check, queen comes to E2, and queen takes H1, and black gets a winning position. So that's a small trap. Of course, white will not fall for that. White can go for the move NF3. After NF3, black does D6, protects E5 one more time, and again similar. If Fe, DE, knight E5, there is a slight difference here. We will see after QH4 check, G3, queen E4 check, queen E2, queen into H1. Then white can try to regain the piece by knight G6 check and take the rook, okay. So knight G6 check, but we will see that black will be very well developed. Now after the move bishop E6 doing development, knight into H8, we see that the white knight is stuck on the H8 square, black is slightly ahead in development, and after NC6, white black is about to castle long, knight is getting to D4, and the other knight will soon come to F6. We can easily make out that white is worse in the position. This is not what white wants from the opening. After D6, white usually goes bishop C4 or NC3 in this position. He can use various move orders. Sometimes bishop C4 is used first, but I think white should play NC3 first and see what black wants to do. Whether black wants to commit the G8 knight to F6 or the B8 knight to C6. Generally we can do knight C6, let's wait with the knight on G8, okay, and now white usually does bishop C4, putting pressure on the F7 pawn. G5 is also possible, putting pressure on the E5 pawn, so that also provides a reasonable play. We should not take EF, note that EF will allow D4. So here black can just, the threat is now see bishop C6, BC, Fe, DE and E5. Okay, that is one of the threats. Black can set a small trap here with the move NF6. Now if white is trying to win the pawn, after bishop C6, BC, Fe5, DE5, knight into E5, then comes the strong move QD4. Now what is happening? There is mate on F2 and the knight is attacked. To save both, he has to go for the move knight D3, after which Bg4, and count that the position is almost winning for black. After knight e2 only move, there is the move queen e4. Takes e4, knight can take on c5. It looks like white has gained a piece, but after qg2, only move rook g1, and now queen h2. So we see that materially black is slightly down. I would say slightly down here because see 4 pawns are there. Black has got already 6 pawns, so 2 pawns are there for the piece. First threat could be be2 and taking on g1. Note that we cannot take be2 right now. be2 qe2 would be a check. But the problem is now one is we are able to do queen h4 check, king f1, bh3 check. That is one idea. And if rook takes g4, then knight g4, and there is mating threat on f2. If rook f1 is played, idea qh4, rook f2, then just castle. And we see that after rook e8, the black position is winning. So materially, black is not that much down, but the king safety is very bad for white, and this position would be lost. Let's look at the main move now. Bishop goes to c4, knight f6, and now d3. So white is ready to develop his bishop now. The only problem is white is unable to castle here. So that is what black wants to exploit. So at this point, black has many moves. Castle is possible, but the move I am recommending is the move bg4. Very simple. We are doing development with an attack, and black has a very dangerous threat, knight d4. So here white has to know the lines very well, otherwise the white position might collapse. So at this point, there are 3 approaches that white can take. We'll look at the moves one by one. The most obvious move, nd5, trying to develop and put pressure on the f6 knight, fails very to nd4. Now the problem is, once the knight on f3 is attacked, black is threatening bf3, gf3, knight d5, bd5 and qh4 check. Note that once there is qh4 check, the position is ruined. Okay, and even after the move c3 here, which is not going to give any respite, because we can see after bf3 first the queen is attacked, gf3, knight d5, so cd4. It looks as if the both pieces are attacked, but bb4 check is there, which can get rid of the attacked knight, or there is also the move qh4 check. After the move ke2, there is just bishop d4. The knight cannot be taken because of knight on f2, and after the move king d2, the bishop will just move away with a check by bb4. So white is not going to get any of this piece. But what I feel right now is maybe after c3, the move nf3 check is perhaps slightly better, because nf3, gf3, knight d5. Now what happens after fg4? Both the pieces are not hanging, so that is, I think, making a better way. Now after the move fg4, qh4 check is not the position which white is again looking at. King f1, there are a lot of problems here. So king e2, there is queen f2 mate, king f1, queen f2 mate, only move kd2, to which just I think knight f4. Okay, and the position is perhaps winning for, of course, winning for black. Okay. After the move queen f2, queen e2, bishop e3 check, there is kd1. Okay. So, but here also I think queen f4 check should be very good for black. So there are various ways for black to play, and the position is winning. Okay. We should perhaps go for the move knight a4. It's very important to snatch this bishop, then only it's possible to castle over here. Okay. Now after the move knight d4, there can be the move c3. So black should just retreat bb6, nb6, ab6. The rook got opened from there, and now black again wants to go nd4. So at this point, maybe white has to go for the move h3 over here. Okay, and he can also go for the move bishop b3, keeping the c2 pawn protected. Black is going to play the move knight d4. So h3 is, I think, one of the necessary moves. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, knight goes to d4. See, well, white has the bishop pair, but black is able to forcibly take it. Now the knight attacks c2, knight attacks the queen. So after queen f2, moving the queen away and protecting c2. If black wants the bishop back, then he can go b5, bb3, ab3, forcing white to take cb3, capturing away from the center. And here, after castle, we see that the position is roughly level. Do note that after fe, de, bg5, there is just qd6 protecting f6. After bf6, queen f6, queen f6, gf, the open king position will not matter. And maybe I think there is fe, de, bg5, we can calculate in the move qd3, because after bf6, queen e4 is check. So which is also looking like a good position to me. And after the move f5, trying to go for bg5, black can break the center by the move d5. This I think is a decent option for black. I have played the King's Gambit a lot in my earlier days when I was just about to get rating and when I was a rated player also. And I have faced this line 3 times against stronger rated opponents. So rating range of around 2000 to 2300 were the players who played this line against me. And here white should play the move h3, perhaps making it most complicated game. After bishop f3, queen f3, I think this is the most complicated try. Once I had played na4, that game ended in a draw. And in one occasion, I think I was not knowing the line when I lost with white. And here we can see that after the move nd4, white has to be very careful now, because if he goes back qd1, then black is about to seize the initiative by the knight move. See, knight wants to go to h5 and the queen wants to reach h4. So here black has a very nice tactical idea. He goes for the move d5, provoking him to take with knight d5. See, now after knight d5, bd5, he moved the knight without making any piece sacrifice, and queen h4 check, and we see that the position is clearly better for black. Castle is broken, f4 is hanging, c6 can drive the bishop away, black's king is far safer than white's. Okay, so after d5, ed, see the very nice positional play by black. It's a positional idea. Now after e into f4, we forced him to open the e file, and after bishop f4, black is escaping with his king by castle and the white king is stranded. Now the serious threats of rook e8 is making the game very difficult. By forcing him to play d5, we blocked his bishop also. And look at black's pieces, they are very active. Look at the white king, king is unsafe. And as I told you, rook e8, queen e7, q d7, idea b5, these ideas are there. Queen can come to f5 also, and black position is clearly better. After h3, black should take bishop f3, queen f3, knight d4, and white should play the move qg3. This is the most, I think, tactical move which white has in hand. And here black has to be very careful. Black should not take c2, taking knight c2, kd1, knight a1, qg7, okay, forcing rook f8, then fe, de, bg5 puts black position under serious pressure. So black should avoid this. And here black can play many moves, like there is knight h5 which is playable here, knight h5, qg4, that position is playable, but the point is if knight f4, then again there is qg7. So we should protect g7 now. So black can go for the move castle over here. Looks little risky, but now it's important to defend g2. So what will happen here is after the move bishop b3, we can go for the move knight h5 and take on f4. So the position will become roughly level over there. So after nh5, queen g4, knight into f4, bishop into f4, e into f4, queen f4, we can say that the position has equalized, almost equalized. Black can take knight into b3 in this position and take this dangerous bishop. And after castle, if Fe, then D into E5, again avoiding NC2 variation. Now the threat is NC2, so after the move bishop B3, we can avoid the pin of Bg5 with the move QD6, and when time comes we can take N into B3, and we can say that this position is again roughly level. Main problem is white is unable to castle short because of the discovered attack. Castle now loses to knight f5. So time and again white has to be very careful with his king position. So what I can say is, without taking much risk against the king's gambit, black has managed a decent position. So this line can be played at, I think, any level as black, and this is my idea of making these lessons so that it's practically very useful. We don't follow too much analysis. Okay, I hope you are enjoying these lessons. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.